Hello and welcome to the news where you aren't. A sideways squint at news that doesn't really matter and hasn't really happened. I'm Vancy Buckland.
And I'm Charlie P. Dolan, bringing you more satirical nonsense written by that guy in Witherspoons who can't work the coffee machine.
Coming up tonight, a thermonuclear explosion in Edinburgh has been overshadowed by the city already looking desolate.
A Glasgow man has been arrested in London for threatening to murder slow-walking tube commuters.
Wales declares that Brexit is a circus and we're in the cheap seats.
And a newly discovered Beatles tape reveals a sinister Soviet conspiracy.
All that, and probably less, here on the news where you aren't. Good evening. A nuclear bomb has gone off in Edinburgh and no one has noticed. Reports came in from the massive explosion at lunchtime yesterday, but it was initially hidden by the castle's unnecessarily loud gunshot signalling it was 1 p.m, but also by the fact that Edinburgh already looks like it's been blown up. We spoke to Councillor Mark McCann about the nuclear blast.
I got a call to say an unstable nuclear device detonated just off of Princes Street, but I just laughed and said, no, they're just building a new shopping centre. It's meant to look like the song.
Edinburgh locals who survived the explosion didn't realise, mostly because they're used to their city looking like the Gaza Strip.
I investigated the site, and I was shocked to discover it wasn't just a state because folks building the shopping centre are conducting it like it's a Sunday foray in the Lego box, but a fully fledged terrorist plot to make even more a mess of this once great city. Also, I have huge amounts of radiation poisoning.
So far, no one has admitted to this heinous atrocity, but as soon as we work out the company behind the shopping centre construction, we'll let you know.
A Scottish man has been arrested outside of Gunnersbury tube station in London after threatening to murder everyone for walking really slow. Tom Merton, 25, from Glasgow, was apprehended by the British Transport Police when slow-walking Londoners made him 8 seconds late for his District Line service. The normal speed walking Glaswegian reportedly lost his temper and kicked one of the automatic ticket barriers when a business executive in front of him decided to stop to make sure his accounts were in order over his Bluetooth headset. First responder at the scene, PC Sarah Abingdon, had this to say.
Normally when we get a call out about a Scot kicking off in a tube station, there's a match on. Or they're moaning about the fact that our subway system is overly complicated in comparison to Glasgow's, which is essentially as good as a train going round a Christmas tree. But this was something else. We needed 4 armed officers, 2 dogs and tear gas to stop this man from cutting the queue.
Not taking the threat of murdering slow early morning commuters lightly, the British Transport Police swiftly took Mr Merton into custody in order to explain how the contactless/Oyster card system works. We spoke to a commuter who didn't know how to be named at the scene.
I've seen nothing like it. This man, I honestly thought, no, I can't even say it. I honestly thought he was going to jump the barrier.
British Transport Police have been reporting an increase in unsavoury behaviour at tube stations due to slow-walking ignoramuses, including those walking up the wrong side of the stairs, stopping in everyone's path to take photos of the stupid notice boards, and those casually abusing staff for either not knowing anything about anything or being far too cheerful. Mr Merton is due to be released, but has unfortunately been delayed at a red signal and is being held at the station for the time being.
England's shy flatmate, Wales, announced that it feels defeated after last week's news that Scotland is evicting itself from the UK and Northern Ireland is paying less rent. Michael Cooper, spokesman for the Welsh Government, said on Tuesday,
"We're beginning to feel a little forgotten about. Westminster isn't even giving us the Netflix password."
However, taking the situation to the Welsh people has been an entirely different story. Speaking to Jan Wellows of Swansea, we asked what Brexit means to her, and she replied with,
Oh, I really don't have time for modern chat music.
Now that Scotland is taking matters into its own hands and moving everyone to its own independent country off the coast of Cumbria, we're feeling a little left behind. Everyone seems to be talking about England, and Northern Ireland had its girlfriend over most nights, and she isn't even paying any rent. So we don't think we're getting a fair deal here.
UK Prime Minister and licensed gingerbread man Boris Johnson later told Mr Cooper on the UK WhatsApp group to sod off and stop being so Welsh. and Northern Ireland responded with a big, obnoxious thumbs up. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, however, responded with,
Come and join us. We're having a great time. And the rent's cheaper too.
Reports indicated that Wales were planning an emergency self-eviction this morning, but have since decided against it because England are threatening to increase the tolls on the bridges. Mr. Cooper had this to say.
We'll have our moment one of these days, and if not, we've got dragons, and we'll go all Game of Thrones on them.
And finally tonight, a newly discovered tape from the Beatles' Abbey Road days reveals that the band never actually existed and were products of a bizarre Soviet conspiracy. Todd Cunningham, a between-employment Beatles fan, discovered this tape at a car boot sale in Purley last weekend and was immediately amazed to discover that the Fab Four were actually 18 Russian spies, 2 monkeys and a time-travelling Noel Gallagher. Despite the years of public appearances, publicity photos and thousands of people actually meeting and interacting with them, this new tape debunks Beatlemania as a Soviet conspiracy to manufacture decent music so spies weren't forced to listen to the shipping forecast when intercepting radio messages. The tape also confirms that many of the mysterious messages in the Beatles' chart-topping songs are actually cryptic Russian codes. I Am the Walrus, in reality, means prepare for assault, bring mittens, and the seemingly innocuous All You Need Is Love actually instructs the Kremlin to awaken Lenin from his resurrection chamber and ready himself to devastate the West. We interviewed Yoko Ono to ask how she felt about her husband not actually existing and the Beatles, and their successful careers, being uncovered as a Russian plot. But we came back instead with 4 John Lennon CDs, a toilet brush and some graphic artwork. Despite Mr. Cunningham's best effort, the tape has since been seized by Sir Paul McCartney's private security armada, and only Mr. Cunningham's memories and this report remain of the curious discovery, which we'll be telling you all about.
Unfortunately, that's all there is this week. But join us, me, again next time on The News Where You Aren't, and open your mind to whatever rubbish we're feeding you. I've been Vancy Buckland, and that was Charlie P. Dolan. Goodbye.
You have been listening to The News Where You Aren't, based on articles published by the Chatty Chimp, written by Eden Luke McIntyre, performed by Julie Duncanson, Eden Luke McIntyre, Craig Hutchison, and Vivien Taylor. Sound engineered by David Murray, edited by Craig Sutherland, and mixed by Reuben Burgess. A Well-Fired production.